Water hemlock. Of all the poisonous plants in North America, water hemlock is widely considered the most violently toxic. It grows in wet, marshy areas, along stream banks, and in meadows with poorly drained soil across the United States and Canada. The plant looks deceptively harmless, resembling wild parsnip or celery, with clusters of small white flowers arranged in an umbrella shape. The poison is a compound called cycutoxin, concentrated heavily in the roots, which directly attacks the central nervous system. Within minutes of ingestion, a person experiences convulsions, seizures, and respiratory failure. There is no antidote. Treatment focuses entirely on controlling the seizures with anticonvulsant medications and keeping the airway open until the toxin clears the body, which requires immediate emergency care. Poison hemlock. This is the plant that killed Socrates. Poison hemlock is a tall, hollow stem plant with purple blotched stems and feathery leaves that grows across Europe, North America, and parts of Asia, typically along roadsides, ditches, and disturbed ground where few other plants compete. It is often mistaken for wild carrot or parsley, which has made it responsible for accidental poisonings throughout history. The toxic compound is coneine, an alkaloid that causes ascending paralysis, starting in the legs and moving upward until it reaches the muscles that control breathing. Death occurs through respiratory failure while the person remains fully conscious. Treatment requires mechanical ventilation to keep the patient breathing and supportive care while the toxin metabolizes, as there is no specific antidote. Deadly nightshade. Few plants have as dark a reputation as deadly nightshade, also called belladonna. It grows across Europe, North Africa, and Western Asia, favoring shaded forest edges, chalky soils, and areas near old ruins and disturbed ground. The plant produces glossy black berries that look inviting, especially to children, and every part of it is toxic. The poison is a group of tropane alkaloids, primarily atropine and scopolamine, which block the nervous system's ability to regulate basic body functions. Symptoms include a racing heart, dilated pupils, hallucinations, dry mouth, inability to urinate, and in severe cases, coma and death. During the Renaissance, Italian women used diluted extracts to dilate their pupils for cosmetic effect, which is how the plant got the name belladonna, meaning beautiful woman. Treatment uses a drug called physostigmine, which reverses the effects of the alkaloids. White snake root. This plant is the reason Abraham Lincoln's mother died, Nancy Hanks. Lincoln died in 1818 from what settlers called milk sickness, a mysterious illness that killed thousands of people in the American frontier before its cause was identified. White snake root is a woodland plant native to eastern North America, growing in shaded forests and along forest edges. Livestock, particularly cattle, would graze on it, and the toxic compound, trematol, would pass directly into the milk and meat of the animal. Humans who consumed that milk or meat developed the illness secondhand. Symptoms include weakness, vomiting, severe muscle tremors, and eventually organ failure. Treatment is supportive, focusing on hydration and organ function, and recovery is possible if caught early enough, but the illness was often fatal before its plant origin was understood. Manchineel. The manchineel tree has been called the most dangerous tree in the world, and it earns that title thoroughly. It grows along coastal beaches and in mangrove swamps throughout the Caribbean, Central America, Florida, and parts of northern South America. Every single part of the tree is toxic. The sap causes severe chemical burns on contact with skin. Standing beneath it during rain is enough to blister exposed skin as the water washes sap off the leaves. Eating the small apple-like fruit causes extreme burning and swelling of the mouth and throat, potentially closing the airway. Burning the wood releases toxic smoke that can cause temporary blindness and severe respiratory damage. The active compounds include phorbol and other diterpene esters. Treatment depends on exposure type, but involves flushing affected areas, managing airway swelling, and supportive care in a hospital setting. Oleander. Oleander is one of the most commonly planted ornamental shrubs in warm climates worldwide, lining highways, gardens, and public parks across the Mediterranean, California, the Middle East, and South Asia. Its clusters of pink, white, or red flowers make it visually appealing, but every part of the plant contains potent cardiac glycosides called oleandrin and nereine. These compounds interfere directly with the heart's ability to regulate its rhythm. Even small amounts can cause nausea, vomiting, a dangerously slow or irregular heartbeat, and cardiac arrest. There are documented cases of people being poisoned by using oleander branches as skewers for cooking meat over a fire. Treatment includes activated charcoal to limit absorption, medications to stabilize heart rhythm, and in severe cases, a digoxin specific antibody treatment that can help neutralize the cardiac effects. Castor bean. The castor bean plant is the source of castor oil, a widely used commercial product. It is also the source of ricin, one of the most toxic naturally occurring substances known to science. The plant grows across tropical and subtropical regions worldwide and is commonly found in Africa, India, South America, and parts of the southern United States, often growing wild along roadsides and in disturbed soil. Ricin is concentrated in the seeds. Just a few seeds, if chewed and swallowed, can be fatal to an adult because ricin works by entering cells and shutting down protein synthesis, effectively killing cells throughout the body. There is no approved antidote. Treatment is purely supportive, focused on managing symptoms including vomiting, internal bleeding, and organ failure. And even with aggressive care, severe ricin poisoning is often fatal. Monkshood. Monkshood, also called wolfsbane or aconite, is one of the most poisonous plants in the northern hemisphere. It grows in mountainous meadows and along stream banks across Europe, Asia, and North America, and has been cultivated as a garden ornamental for centuries because of its striking purple, helmet shaped flowers. The toxin is aconitine, which disrupts the electrical signals that regulate the heart and nervous system. Absorption can happen not just through ingestion, but through the skin, meaning handling the plant without gloves can cause numbness and tingling that spreads from the hands upward. Historically, it was used to poison arrowheads and bait for wolves, which is where the name wolfsbane comes from. Treatment requires immediate hospitalization, cardiac monitoring, and medications to manage the dangerous arrhythmias the toxin produces, as there is no antidote. Rosary pea. The rosary pea is a climbing vine native to tropical regions including South Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, and Florida, where it has established itself as an invasive species. The plant produces small, bright red seeds with a distinctive black spot that make them look like decorative beads. They have been used in jewelry and traditional instruments for centuries, which has led to numerous accidental poisonings among artisans who work with them. The toxin is abrin, a compound structurally similar to ricin that works in the same way, shutting down protein production inside cells. A single seed, if the hard outer shell is broken and the interior is ingested, contains enough abrin to kill an adult. Treatment is supportive only, with no specific antidote available, and outcomes depend heavily on how quickly medical care is reached and how much of the seed was actually absorbed.